So, Mr. Mayor, we talked about when they're getting the debris to the curb. So let's talk about where the placement should be and how the different piles should be.
Sure, first thing you want to do is be cognizant of this pile here. It's in a ditch, and we got a drainage ditch. Now, just because we've had one storm doesn't mean there won't be another one right behind it with a lot of rain. And we need those drainage arteries to be cleared so that water can flow and we can take care of keeping the water out of your property. So try to keep the debris out of the ditch as much as possible. Also, be cognizant of where your meter box is or your water meter, maybe a tap for a gas line or something like that.
Fire hydrant.
A fire hydrant. When you go and you take this scoop, this grapple to put this stuff in debris in the truck, you're going to damage a little bit of the ground around it. And if that water box is there or meter box is there, you risk pulling your water meter out, and we got a water leak to fix now in a pile of debris. So be careful with that. Also be cognizant of what's above, if there's any low hanging lines, which we have a lot of after this storm, or if there's any low hanging trees that would hinder them from being able to get the grappling tool under that tree to get that stuff into the truck. So just kind of be aware of your surroundings as you're bringing this stuff curbside.
It's also good not to try and keep it away from any type of post, fence, a vehicle that might be, close by, so that nothing gets damaged.
Yeah, anything you don't want to get damaged, try to keep it away from that. Bottom line, protect yourself and enable the gentlemen that are doing these and ladies that are doing these jobs to get them done in an appropriate manner without damaging any of your property any further. So let's talk about how to separate these things. We've been talking about this on all of the videos that the city's done throughout this recent storm, but I found out here recently we got to take this further than I've been telling you. All the green debris, green waste like you see here, people tend to put it in bags. Do not bag it. Cannot have plastic bags in these landfills. Don't bundle it. We don't need the strings and the wires and what have you. That can't go into the landfill. So any green waste, tree limbs, leaves, debris of that nature, whole trees. I mean, we've got whole trees that have been cut up in chunks. They go in one pile. And then your second pile will be your C&D, we call it, which is construction and demolition waste, which would be shingles, plywood, insulation, sheetrock, paneling, things of that nature. Anything that
fences, wooden fences,
fencing. Good point. Any wooden products or building construction products. Now, I've been saying that you put your furniture and stuff in it, but I've just found recently that you can't do that. You need to separate your bedding, your furniture, things that were interior into your home into a third pile. Okay, so you got one pile of green waste, you got one pile of construction and demolition waste, you got a third pile of just furnishings, furniture. But then we've got the fourth pile that we've talked about many times in these videos, which is what we call white goods or electronics. They're your washers, dryers, refrigerators, freezers, all sorts of interior appliances that some of that we can actually use for scrap metal and we can put it in a recycle through that. But you've got to keep those piles separate because the federal government is watching and monitoring those piles and making sure that we handled all of this debris appropriately. Now, you're going to be cleaning your refrigerator out. If you've been out without power for a while, refrigerators and freezers and things of that nature, you're going to bag that stuff. That stuff can get real toxic. You're going to bag that stuff and you're going to put it in your carts for your garbage
cart. Household garbage cart, that's what it's there for.
Normal garbage cart. Put it in that cart and get that curbside because they're still going to continue, you're going to continue to pick up the garbage as you're picking up the storm debris also. So get that stuff into those carts and separated. Those routes will probably run a little more frequently than these big pickup routes, and get that smell out of your neighborhood because it's going to be foul. When I say toxic, it's bad.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you brought up a good point there because we've noticed is that people are using their household garbage carts, sticking all kind of green waste debris into it or construction debris in their garbage carts. We really don't want them to do that. Get your green waste to the curb with your green waste pile and it'll be picked up when we pick up with the debris, and use your household garbage cart for what you said. For people when they empty out their refrigerators, bag it, get as much stuff bagged as you can. Put that into your garbage cart and we'll get that on the Norman's collection route, with your garbage. So great point there because that's something that we did want to cover. And please don't put your household garbage mixed in with your storm debris. Don't throw bags just that are household garbage in with your debris. That should all go into your carts.
There's monitors that are monitoring these debris pickups, and they're assuring that the federal government, if you will, is protected so that they're not paying for something that we should be normally paying for. They're going to pay for that storm debris, storm management. So if there's garbage in those piles, they're not going to count that for us, and we're not going to get paid for it. It's bottom line. We're going to get paid for it whenever we pay you for your normal route through the garbage system. Put your garbage in things that go in your cart, your normal household waste. Put them in your cart curbside, and we'll be picking those up twice a week, just as we normally do in our recycling once a week. So we'll manage that. But all of these other things that we've talked about, your green waste is this pile you see here. One pile. Second pile, construction and demolition waste, which is boards, wood, shingles, insulation, sheetrock, things of that nature. Anything that you would have to tear down in your property or that was torn down and you're going to rebuild and put back together. Third pile is furniture, bedding, things of that nature. Interior household goods. I guess if you've got clothing and things of that nature, they would go in that pile if you can't clean them and reuse them, anything like that. Fourth pile is your white goods. That's your refrigerators and appliances and things. So you're gonna have 4 piles along the curb. Keep them separated as best you can. Watch where you're putting it. I know this is an awful lot of information. Watch where you're putting it. Try to protect our drainage system. Try to protect any of your properties that you don't want to be damaged further, your water meters, your gas lines, overhead utilities, things of that nature. Just make it as easy as possible. That way we can be as efficient and effective at getting this debris out of our neighborhoods as soon as possible and trying to get our community back to a more normal
state.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people have questions about, they might have trees that are down on their yard, not understanding. What we pick up during the storm debris and picking it up is debris piles that are in the right of way. Mm-hmm. And I think some people they're unsure of why isn't the city, why aren't they cutting down stuff that may be on their personal property? And so I don't know if you might want to cover that too and explain of why.
Yeah, it's purely got to do with how public dollars can be used. I can't use public dollars that you give me as tax dollars on private property. I can't go on your private property and remove debris. You're going to have to be responsible for that. But the good thing about in these storms, we have big crews of volunteers that come around in here from all over the country, all the faith-based organizations, as well as a lot of the nonprofits that bring in work crews that have chainsaws. They've got skidders, they got little backhoes, they got all the equipment they need to get that debris curbside. So they can help you if you can't afford or don't have the wherewithal physically to get this heavy debris curbside. These volunteers can help you, and then we can remove it. But I can't send a city crew in to take a tree off your property unless it's in a city right of way. But you know very well where those are going to be when you got utility right of ways either behind your house or in front of your home. So we have to be very careful with how we do that. I just can't send a city crew into private property to get work done.
And I think the other thing is important to let people know too, and again, when they come back, it's so overwhelming. You're coming back a lot of times, no power, no internet. First of all, you may not even have access to get to your home. So on what happens? So, in this situation, just with the tornado that hit, power outages, power lines were down, poles were down. So all that needs to get cleared first. So there is a different contractor that comes in and does a push contract, right?
That's right.
And but then have to give the utility companies time to come through the area, get that stuff restored with electrical power, get their poles before we, can even start coming into the area.
That's
and really, we have a little delay in that. We want people to know that we want them to get as much stuff to the curb as possible. We want to give them time to do that before we even start making our first pass.
That's right.
And when we're coming through an area and we do start, on our first, sweeps, we're really going after the vegetative debris, the green waste. But don't worry that the C&D, just because we got a pile in the green waste, that we know the C&D's there, it's not getting left down. This is a process that takes several weeks, could take several months depending upon severity of a storm. Don't want them panicking and calling and saying, oh, they got this pile, but they didn't get this pile. They left the C&D down. That's very possible because we're going to hit the vegetative first,
right?
Because that's the most that you'll see, for the most part, that you're going to see a lot, significant,
heaviest amount of debris.
And it also lets the curb get cleared, so that if people, because I think you noticed riding around with this storm, people still have stuff that's in their backyard that they still need to get to the curb. Mm-hmm. So it gives them room to get the rest of that green, vegetative debris to the curb.
Right.
And also the construction demolition debris. Some people, as we're seeing with what's come through with this storm, they haven't even been able to start on that and get that C&D waste to the curb.
That's correct.
So I think it's good for them to know that process, and that we understand, we get it. Have confidence that it's a lengthy process, but we're gonna get your debris picked up at the curb.
Well, we serve the public, and what my message to our citizens in our community is that you're not in this alone. We're here to support you. We're here to help you. We're going to do everything we can in our power to restore normalcy as soon as possible. But when you have a major disaster like this, there is a process you got to follow, and it's got to be an orderly process, because if we get in here too early and start removing debris, and there's still lines, electrical lines in particular, in some of this debris, we stand to do more damage to the grid than is already done. And we have to be careful to not damage any wires that are down, that maybe they could just put a new pole in and hang it back up and restore that grid real quick. So it's a process, and it's a step-by-step process. And in a situation like this, we're looking at several weeks, or a month, or maybe two. In a hurricane, we're looking at months possibly to be able to get in there. After Ida, we had the city restored. Pretty much everything was picked up in 45 days, about a month and a half. But there is a process we go through, and I've got people calling the office, on a regular basis. I need debris picked up. Well, we're coming. We're just giving you time immediately after the storm to get that stuff curbside, as you say, and give you a chance to get as much debris to the curb as you can. That first pass generally frees up room to bring more stuff, as you said. So those are all very good points, and just bear with us. We are here to support you. Know that you're not in this alone. Our community, our public works, our support systems, our contractors, they're all in this with you, and we're doing our best to make you whole as quickly as we can.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think we've given the residents a lot of information, and we want to get people's life back to normal as quickly as possible. Fully understand that. But I think we've given them information that can help them out in the event for the next storm. Absolutely. Hopefully we don't get any, like we talked earlier.
Right.
But the chances are looking pretty good for a busy hurricane season and for future years.
No, we're not going to say that. We're just
we won't.
We're just going to say we're prepared.
We're prepared. So I think what's good is that after the storm, that information's been out there. I know the city's been putting out information. You do some live videos every day. You've done it before for years, where you're giving people updates all day long, not only about debris, but about other things as well. So hopefully people are able to see that on social media, but they can also visit the city website. We got information on our website. We're putting out information on our social media pages. So we're trying to get the information out to the residents as much as possible and help them as much as possible as well. And we'll continue to do that. So thank you for spending some time today so we can help the residents in the future. And as always, we appreciate the partnership that we have with the City of Slidell, and being able, we've always committed to you that we're going to get the job done. When you need us the most, you can count on us the most. And so thank you very much for taking some time, and that we're able to help the residents together.
Thank you, Jack. It's great having you, having Coastal as part of our team and supporting our community. So, but the bottom line takeaway on this is storm season is upon us. So get a game plan, guys. Go and look at the city website, look at our city Facebook page, go to Coastal, their Facebook page. Get all these things together, get your full emergency preparedness plan together so that you're ready if we do have an event. You'll know how to pack and how to prepare if you have to evacuate. You'll know how to respond when the event's over, and know what to do whenever you get back to your home and start cleaning up debris, mess, or helping neighbors and friends clean up their problems. So just as we've said in the past, as the governor's reiterated time and time again, get a game plan. We thank you for listening to this video today, and we hope it's been helpful to you, but we can't emphasize enough, be prepared throughout this coming months as we go forward into the storm season.